We're going to talk about a shagbark hickory. This is the king of the hickories, you might say, or the grandmother of the hickory family, which belongs to the walnuts. Or some books will say walnuts belong to the hickories, and others say hickories belong to the walnuts, but they're all in the same place in the book. I think it's the walnuts family, according to the Golden Field Guides, but Audubon calls it the other way around. It's the hickory family and the walnuts belong to the hickories. But anyway, this is a shagbark. That's S-H-A-G, shag, not shell. Shell bark's a whole completely different hickory. I heard a fella telling this the other day, one time back, and shell bark, shag bark, call it whatever you like, and that's just not the case. There's too many hickories to do that kind of shenanigan. There's about 17 different hickories in this family, and shagbark is the mainstay of the whole family. The shellbark is a bigger tree and has a much bigger nut, and I don't have a shellbark to show you. Maybe later on I'll get to show you a shellbark. Right here in this region, western PA, we don't have any around here. You get down in southern Ohio and over to Columbus, and you start picking them up big time on the shellbarks, and in Kentucky and Indiana. I had them where I was raised. A lot of both shagbarks and shellbarks. The shellbarks have a nut on them about the size of a tennis ball. They're the giants of this family. Okay, this is the shagbark. As you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leaves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leaves. Same thing, same thing, same thing. Now, the books will tell you that occasionally you will find a 7, like right here. Here was 2, 4. No, I'm wrong. No, that's right. 2, 4. No, that's a 5. That's a 5. It's a 5. It's a 5. On these shagbarks here in this yard, I've looked and counted on these again and again and again, and I've never found a 7. These trees are all predominantly 5s, but I have seen shagbarks that have throw a 7 compound leaf once in a while on them. Some of the other hickories, that's how you identify some of the other hickories, like the pignut, mockernut, butternut, bitternut hickory, and nutmeg hickory, and saying and on, is by the numbers of the predominant leaflets on their compound leaf. Right here you can see there's a nut hanging on, and the compound leaves. These are the leaflets. They're always, their main one at the end of the compound leaf is always more elongated, more lance shaped than the others quite often. And it's always, there's a real nice one right there, always in them 5s right there, with the 2 smaller ones back here. The secondaries are always smaller, and the primaries is the 3 out here. Okay, you can see this growth right here, right? There's a growth ring, and there's a growth ring. Right there's 1 year of new growth wood on this hickory, and then this is this year's new growth wood. And you can see I just knocked off some bud scales. You see how they're 3-lobed? That's an identifying character of this family, 3-lobed bud scales. Here's new wood again. That year right there, they grew a lot. They had a good year. That was last year. We did have a good year. This tree is got about a half a crop this year. Last year it was loaded. I never seen a hickory, I never seen a shagbark have more nuts on it than this tree did per square foot than last year. It was just loaded down to something else. Okay, now we're going to look at the trunk. This tree, and we'll go over and look at that other one in a minute, are both shagbarks. I just measured the circumference of this tree and come up with its diameter at stump height. That's 4 or better feet off the ground, and this tree is 28 inches through. That's its diameter, and for a hickory, that's a pretty big tree, and that's an old hickory. I'd say these hickories, this hickory and that hickory over there, is about 1 inch bigger. We can walk over there and see its bark. It's really shaggy. This one don't get shaggy until you get up higher. You can see as you go up how the bark gets shaggier and shaggier and shaggier, and shag barks hang on in the middle. They'll be loose on both ends, and they're attached in the middle of their plate. That's how they are. This one just happens to be smoother at the bottom. It's just one of those characteristic things. This one happens to be rougher, probably about 2 inches bigger diameter. And these two shag barks have different characteristics. This one has a little different nut. You're going to think I'm a crazy nut when I tell you this, and I hope there's somebody out there who can dispute me, but I seen in a 1937 Wise Botanical Garden book about this species of shagbark is being divided into 3 genuses: Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Kentucky, and what did I say? Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Kentucky, and Virginia. They can be actually correctly identified into 4 different genes, and the characteristics is in the nut is where you see it the most. The nuts on this tree have higher, bigger ridges, a lot thicker hulls, harder to crack, harder to clean, and they are not heart-shaped. The first one we looked at, the nuts are heart-shaped, and they're thin and easy to clean and deliciously sweet. This is the Pennsylvania. I don't have the Greek in front of me because I don't know nothing to read about Greek, but they are actually got 3 different Greek classifications for these 3 different species or specimens in the shagbark hickory. And the Pennsylvania is the thinnest shelled one, always heart-shaped. It's a very